Srila Prabhupada was once asked, our scriptures say sadhu sangha, and then lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Lava is even a fraction of a second. Lava matra, even by fraction of a second's association with a pure devotee, sarva siddhi hoy. Then why are we struggling with so many material desires, lusty desires? So Srila Prabhupada explains, and in this case, we are hearing from Prabhupada. And we have no doubt Prabhupada is, just like here it is mentioned, heard from a spiritual master who is authorized. And then here it says, one will experience transcendental pleasure if we hear the pastimes of the Lord. But many times we feel sleepy. Prabhupada's lecture, he is talking about Krishna, Krishna Leela. We are feeling sleepy. Sometimes waiting when the class will get over. So why this lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy? So Srila Prabhupada explains, just like a wood, when it is brought close to the fire or put in the fire may be very strong fire, big fire, but if the wood is wet, it will not get ignited easily. So Prabhupada explains, it depends on the quality, just like it depends on the quality of the wood. If the wood is dry, just like sometimes when we sit for yagyas, so the fire is there in the yagya kund. And then depends on what kind of wood we have. If we put some twigs, very dry twigs, thin wood, immediately it ignites. If we put thick wood, it takes a little time. If we put wet wood, although the pre-arrangements involves gathering the right kind of wood, but imagine the wood is wet, it will not ignite fire. So Prabhupada explains, just like the wood, if it is dry, it will immediately catch fire. But if it is wet, it will take the fire. What will the fire do first? If you put a wet wood in a big fire, what will happen? First, the wood will dry before it gets ignited. So we are like the wet wood, wet by past conditioning. So many material desires, so many lifetimes, so many unfulfilled material desires, so many hankerings. We are like the wet wood. In fact, we are like the wood which has been pulled out from a water tank. Water is dripping. We are like that. Sometimes we should not think that, because so many lifetimes, even in this life, if we look back, what were we doing before we came to Prabhupada's movement? So we should be confident, we should have the faith, conviction. Srila Prabhupada's words, because he is coming in a bona fide disciplic succession, he is a pure devotee, he has love for Krishna, he has seen Krishna, he is in touch with Krishna. If we associate with Srila Prabhupada, his Vani, his words, his books, we will get ignited. Again, it depends on the quality of wood. So then Prabhupada further explains, okay, it's a wet wood, it comes in touch with the fire, it becomes dry because it is in touch with the fire. And soon it will get ignited. But what if you put water again on the wood? Our case is like that. We are a wet wood, came in touch with a fire, fire is drying us, but simultaneously, kunjara sochavat. We are putting water and again getting moist. So following of the 4 regulative principles strictly, sincerely is like, or breaking the regulative principles is like putting the water on a wood which is moist or which is wet. And then Prabhupada explains, if the wood is wet and constantly water is being poured, for hundreds of years it may not ignite. Just visualize a wood which is already wet, you put it in fire and simultaneously every 2 minutes you're putting water on the wood. It may not ignite fire. So the process is bona fide. Spiritual master Srila Prabhupada is bona fide. We also have to become bona fide disciples. Sincere, obedient, ready to follow. If something is lacking, many times we find faults in the environment, in other people, in the process. We should find fault with ourselves. If today I am not able to taste, today if I am having this thing, it is because of my own doing, my material desires. Again, we should not feel completely hopeless, because whatever we are following, with whatever sincerity we are following, to the best of our ability, we are progressing. That faith we should have. And then if we follow the process, the moistness will go, wetness will go, the wood will become dry, the wood will get ignited. And if the wood is completely dry, just like in the fire we see, we put dry wood, thin pieces of wood, immediately, in no time, it gets ignited. So, Srila Prabhupada also was once asked, you have written so well your purports, your books. You also speak with so much of conviction, so much of faith in Krishna. How it is so good, how you are able to speak so well, so nicely, and write so wonderfully. Can anyone think of what could be the answer of Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada said, this is because I have heard attentively. I have heard attentively. Whatever my spiritual master spoke, I heard attentively. Although we know Srila Prabhupada met his spiritual master only a few times, but whatever words he spoke, he took it very seriously. He sincerely followed. He said, if you get opportunity, preach this message in the Western world. That became his life's mission. So, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, that there is a quality of that association also. It is not only dry, with what sincerity, with what eagerness we are hearing. What is the eagerness to practically apply that instruction in our life? We all know Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whenever there would be some in Vrindavan, or there was one parikrama, then announcement was made that parikrama will start, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj will stay back, and those who want to join parikrama can go, otherwise Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will be lecturing. And then Prabhupada, just to hear his spiritual master, stayed back. And then Srila Prabhupada also explains, in the initial days, I could not understand what he is speaking. Now here it is where this is not an intellectual understanding we are talking about. You can hear and understand each and every word, but it could be at an intellectual level. And we could hear practically, sincerely, understand very few things, but assimilate it like a sponge. That is the example of that brāhmaṇa in South India. So we should not aim for panditya. In spiritual life, the goal is, although for preaching, yes, it is good, we should quote verses, it becomes more authoritative. Sometimes even when we are reading Srila Prabhupada books, we are little intellectually motivated. No doubt, understanding the context, understanding what is the relationship, mind map, how this verse is leading to the next verse. That is good, but that's not everything. Just like here in the purport it said, to be a dvija, a brāhmana, is not everything. Although Prabhupada said, scrutinizingly read my books, but the main thing is to be sincere disciple of Srila Prabhupada, eagerness to hear from Srila Prabhupada and follow his instruction, be obedient. And that's what Prabhupada, he says many times in the initial, there was in one Prabhupada lecture, he is saying that I could not understand what he was saying, but still I wanted to hear. So if we are not eager to hear, then our preaching, our whatever we are talking, what is inside, what is going inside will come out. If we are not eager to hear, if you're not reading, if you're not hearing, then whatever we are hearing, something we are hearing. There is katha going on everywhere. Gramya katha or Krishna katha. Even if we are not cautious, depending on the taste, we'll gravitate towards some katha. News is full of Gramya katha, available on fingertips. YouTube channels, anything you can watch. So we have a free will, constant. If we are not aware, just like Prabhupada says, we have to serve. If we don't serve Krishna, we'll serve Maya. So if we don't hear Krishna, then we'll do some other kind of Shravanam. Without Shravanam, we cannot live. And based on that Shravanam, our consciousness will develop. So while we say this, once Srila Prabhupada was asked, Prabhupada, many times people are not eager to hear the philosophy, but they are very eager to eat prasadam. This was a case when, after the lecture prasadam, every temple, after the lecture prasadam is served, and many times people come towards the end for prasadam. So a devotee approached Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, many people are not eager to hear the philosophy, but they are very eager to eat prasadam. So Srila Prabhupada explains that to get attracted to Krishna is not an easy thing. If they are eager to have prasadam, let them have prasadam. Let them eat, and eat. Soon they will become infected. They have belly. They have belly just like animals have belly. If they want to eat, let the belly be filled up. Let them have prasadam. One day, they will become Krishna conscious. Then Srila Prabhupada explains, our feeding programs are not poor feeding programs. So we should also have little broader perspective of preaching. Last class I briefly mentioned. It's a fact that everyone is not in a position to hear. They have no interest, they have no taste. We can see in our own lives, in spite of being in association of devotees, sometimes that eagerness is not there. So, that's why Acharyas, knowing that how conditioned soul are all wet, full of material desires, have devised different ways to bring them, to elevate their consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So what are the three main emanation? Last time we talked about three main emanation. And we also talked about a big temple enables that these three emanations for everyone. The most materialistic person can also be benefited, can also be taken one step above in his consciousness if we use these three emanations. Prasadam, Divya Gyan, then the holy name, and then Prasadam. Prasadam, Divya Gyan, and holy name. If you see in terms of, take 100 people, how many people are eager to hear? It will be out of 100, maybe 2 or 3. If you also take average of how many people buy books, let's say Madhuprabhu was telling in Gita count 100, 200 Gitas goes, but 10,000 people come. 15,000 people come. So how many are eager to hear? How many are eager to buy books, transcendental literature, want to hear, want to read? Very few. 1%, less than 1%. How many are eager to participate in kirtans? Or if you tell them chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or how many people pass through Harinam Mandap? 3,000, 4,000. So that means about 30%. That also in Harinam Mandap choice is given. You can bypass that, directly you can go for darshan or you can pass through it. 3,000 out of 15,000, 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 people pass through. And how many people take prasadam? All 15,000. Some people, can I have one more dona? So we should be clear. We should try to distribute books, we should try to reach out this thing, we should try to inspire people to hear, but we should also be practical. Not everyone is qualified, not everyone is ready. And hence, according different strokes for different folks. There is a saying in English. You cannot have the same stroke for different people. Different stroke for different folks. There was one Mataji, she was attending our session. And this was in Whitefield many years back. And her husband was hardcore atheist. Hardcore. At times he would come to drop her for the session, but he would continue. She even invited that when you're coming to pick me up, you have prasadam. He would not come. He believed that we are mixing something. Many people believe that. I met one girl few days back, she came to give some donation. Her parents are very particular, don't eat anything there in our temple. You can go, have darshan, don't eat anything. They will give you something, they will give you some prasadam, don't eat. Once you eat it, your journey starts. They are right in one sense. In one sense they are right, the journey starts. But in what way? Even I used to believe. I used to like prasadam a lot, like many of us who came to Krishna consciousness. So I would go in the evening after the office hours to the temple. This is before joining. And it was a small temple, Bangalore. Once I had asked Chanchalapati Prabhu, can I have prasadam in the evening or in the afternoon? So he said, no, it is for the devotees, temple devotees. So 8:30, 9 o'clock in the night, sometimes, the devotee who's in charge of cleaning the APH, some leftover prasadam. At that time, I would ask a devotee, because it was a small temple, APH also was nearby. So some plate was kept, he was about to clean. So I would ask him, can I take this plate? Because anyway, he has to dispose somewhere. So I would eat with a lot of relish. And especially on Sundays, some khichdi and halwa used to be made. So the place where I was staying in Bangalore with my relatives, they also used to come sometimes on Sundays. And they also liked a lot. But the quantity which was served was very limited. You want to have more, you can maximum, if agar इज्जत की परवाह नहीं कर रहे तो एक बार और जाके बेशर्मी के साथ you can ask one more time. But that person who is serving, he will look at you. So there was little bit guilt feeling also. Second serving already done, you want still more. So then one time I asked that my mommy, the place where I was staying, I said, why can't we make this khichdi in the home? Then we can make big quantity and eat as much as we want. As many donas as we want. And we tried. It's not the same. Because why people many times get attracted to prasadam? Because it's a fact. We should have faith. Sometimes we don't have faith. It's a fact that when things are offered to Krishna, Krishna's saliva gets mixed. It's a transcendental potency of the Lord in the prasadam, which is spiritually enlivening. It even at a material level, the taste also gets different. That's why many people have tried copying the Tirupati laddu, but always fall short. So in the initial days, I also was curious, what are they mixing? Maybe they are mixing something. And this happened, even Chanchalapati Prabhu said, when he was recounting his earlier days, he used to slowly go and watch in the kitchen, the entire cooking, what they are doing. First they put rice, then they put water, then they put masala. Okay, after that what did they put? Did they put anything extra which is... And those were the dam maro dam days. So already, be high forever. So there are many substances which can make you high. So the doubt was always there. So prasadam is potent and we can reach. That's why Prabhupada had mass distribution, this thing. Food for life. Prabhupada wanted. At one place he says that for mass distribution, somebody came and said, we are not getting the right cooks because devotees cannot cook huge quantities. So one person said he is smoking, that person. So Prabhupada said, what can be done? Let him smoke outside and come. Let him not smoke in the kitchen. But then he said, we should collaborate with governments and they can fund such programs. And we can expand prasadam feeding in a big way. So it's a fact that everyone is not ready for, more so in this age, everyone can hear Prabhupada's lectures are available, association is available, books are available, but the recipient is not ready. The wood is wet. So we have to devise innovative ways. Just like we watched that Narasimha Avatar movie. It's become a very big hit. They have already, in 3 days, 21 crores. Whatever the money they have invested has been recovered. So while we were coming back from the theater, we were discussing that the person who made the movie, his life is done. In the sense, it's the greatest contribution. This movie will remain for many years, many hundreds of years. People will watch. Just like many times old movies, even if it is 40 years, 50 years old, still people watch. So people will watch. In fact, we will also take some rights. We will make theater. We are making 2 big theaters here in our temple. And the reason why we are making theater means not the size where we went, maybe half the size, at least 200 people. And we'll keep having different movies like this. We will have collaboration, we'll have royalty kind of a agreement. The idea is anybody who comes today, what is the movie? Mahavatar Narsimha. And the theater is made of with all the latest technology, sound, because you can watch in Netflix also, you can watch in YouTube also. But why we went to theater? Because the effect is completely different. So anybody, anytime comes today for children, that Little Krishna is being played, 20-minute show. Then next, Mahavatar. By the time our temple will be there, another 2 movies he would have made. Mahavatar, Parshuram. So like that, and imagine now, theaters, this movie will go. It becomes old movie. Now it will be available only in Netflix. But imagine these kind of movies which are very, somebody has spent, for 1 second, you know what he was telling? There was an interview of Ashwin Kumar, who's a producer. 1 second has 24 frames. This is an animation movie. And to make that 1 second, 24 frames, it took them 2 days of rendering. In computers, you have rendering. 2 days. Then the second, third second, fourth second, 10 second. After 10 seconds, they have made their, no, it is jam nahi raha hai. Theek nahi aaya hai. Redo the whole thing. 6-7 years, 3 years back, Madhuprabhu had gone to his house. So they had shown some parts of it without that sound and all that thing. For last 6-7 years, they have been working on it. So many people are making such movies. Now, with this hit movie, many people will be inspired to invest in spiritual movies. Telugu cinema is famous for spiritual movies, but in between it got lost. So many people will be revived that yes, there are audience for that. Such movies can also can be a box office hit. So we will see in next few years many more movies. In fact, he himself has said all the Shavatar different movies will come. So like that, all these spiritual movies which are very, very inspiring, motivating, very nicely made, this thing. Even Little Krishna for children. For us it may look like, it's a cartoon, this thing. But for children, if they come, they see in a big theater, nicely done, I'm sure it will be very inspiring. So we have to find innovative ways. Not everyone is ready for hearing somebody by watching a movie. How many people would be, I was reading the reviews of this, they all are people from different, they are not necessarily devotees, but our soul was touched. Such a wonderful movie. We were touched by the conviction of Prahlad Maharaj. Karmis, I can make out from their comments. So Prabhupada also wanted innovative ways to preach. Because it's a fact, wood is moist, fire is there, but it will not burn. Not everyone is ready for it. Not everyone is qualified. So prasadam, through holy name, through these movies, audiovisual shows, we are coming up with, there is something called as, projection mapping. You can project on a building. So even from that side, landscape side, where the Kalyani is coming, where presently Mathura garden is there, on top of the temple, the whole projection will happen. And there will be some very meaningful small clips or other short films will be made where people can sit on this thing and it will be projected on a screen is a different thing, but projected on a building, the whole building is illuminated. So once Srila Prabhupada was sitting in his quarters and one professor came to meet him. And right from the word go, he was very, very argumentative. Whatever Prabhupada would say, he would start objecting to it, would start giving his own interpretation. No, in my opinion, this is there. And at times he was also getting agitated, not wanting to accept what Prabhupada was saying. From his tone, from his body language, not at all submissive. Sometimes when you're speaking to someone, you can make out he's not listening, he wants to object, he wants to just speak. So at one point, Srila Prabhupada said, it requires brains to understand. It requires brains to understand. Told that person directly. That person also got agitated and said, I don't think what you're speaking is any meaningful, it's from a brain, in the sense what you're speaking. In other words, what he said is, you're also speaking nonsense. So the disciple of Prabhupada, he said, we have invited you as a guest to meet our spiritual master. You have to be respectful. Otherwise, we'll ask you to go. So the person again became overwhelmed. Prabhupada, no. He cooled him down. And Prabhupada very intelligently diverted the topic. Knowing that he is not ready to listen, he is not wanting to listen. And then Prabhupada made the conversation very light-hearted, started discussing few other things. And then whatever the tension was there between the whole environment, it softened. And then the conversation happened, it came to some logical end. Then Prabhupada said, why don't you have prasadam? He nicely had prasadam with the devotees. And then while going back, he thanked Prabhupada. He even paid obeisances and left. So, we also, when we are preaching, we have to be very careful because all kinds of people are there. There are some people who are very argumentative, some people not wanting to listen. So we have limited time. I think I have shared this. One time I was in Bangalore, a person came, I was taking him around, very eminent person. He was a foreigner, he was from Australia. So I explained to him, this is Narasimha temple. So he saw that, heard that. And then he was arguing something, why you build temples, why this thing is there, why so much money is spent, this can be used for poor feeding and all that. Then we took him to Srinivasa temple. I told this Tirupati Balaji, it's the richest temple of this thing. So context you have to give because he is new to it. Okay, but why do people give donations to the temple? So then we took him to the main temple, Radha Krishna, Gaur Nitai, all these things. So then he said, why 5 temples? If God is one, why 5 temples? So I explained there are different avatars. Narasimha is avatar of the Lord to protect the devotees. Is this. So that why there is no temple for Jesus Christ? If you said God is one and there are 5 temples, different avatars are there and all that, why not temple for Jesus Christ? So I told, yes, we are planning in second phase. It's coming. Now you can argue with him for next half an hour, why Jesus Christ, what avatara and how he is not a God, he is son of God. So somewhere we have to be intelligent, more so when we are meeting people outside, life members, donors. Not everyone is ready for listening. So we have to be very, very smart because our time is limited. With whom, how much time we have to spend. If somebody is very receptive, wanting to listen, yes, we should not mind spending time. But somebody, you can make out from the word go, is argumentative, is not wanting to listen. Before you are speaking, before you end speaking, he wants to give an answer. Then you should not waste time. Then we should find innovative ways how we can touch his soul. It can be through prasadam, it can be through holy name, it can be through this thing, or various other mediums. So I was telling about this Whitefield, the lady, the husband never used to come in. Even prasadam he used to not take. So this lady, very intelligent, she was very patient. So every day she had Gaur-Nitai deities in her home. So she would sometime ask me, Prabhu, my husband, he's not at all this thing. He's an atheist. What can we do for him? So those days I suggested, why don't you have a mantra box, at least during the day you can just play at least that vibration. So morning when you get up, switch on that mantra box, Prabhupada Kirtan. So she said, when I play that also he gets irritated. I said, play it very softly. So she would get up early, he would get up at 8 o'clock. I said, morning when you get up, when he is in deep sleep, you switch it on. So it's 4 o'clock, 4:30, she would just switch it on and slow this thing. And then she did one more thing. The Maha water, she would offer that water to the deities, Gaur-Nitai deities, Charan, the Tulsi, and the Charan Tulsi at the feet of the Lord. She would mix that water to the can in which the water is dispensed. So for 1 or 2 years, this happened. And you won't believe her husband is now chanting 16 rounds. I met that person in Vrindavan. I said, do you remember the days when I have personally invited you, come and have prasadam? And he said, no, Prabhuji. Some of Prabhuji he said, but he would not come in. Do you remember? So then I was curious, what made this transformation? How did this whole change happen? Then he was explaining something. But he doesn't know the real reason. He was giving some logical reason. So that way preaching is very, our creative force has to be used. We all have creative force. Madhaprabhu explains, creative force has to be used. Think innovative ways, how we can reach out this message to different people, different stroke for different folks. Somebody who's not ready for this thing, through prasadam, through books, through holy name. One thing Madhaprabhu told recently when he came, he said, not everyone needs, in India, I think he told here, some of you were there, not everyone needs big philosophy. People are ready. Just anybody whom you meet. In fact, I am going to do that in my office, have beads. Anybody who comes, at least do your duty. Give him a bead and say, chant like this. Somebody will take up. When we go and meet people, life members, preachers, always have some 5-6 beads in your, just tell them. Don't be attached to the result. I told 10 people he is not ready. Just, as I said, prasadam everyone will take. Lesser number of people will take holy name. Lesser number of people will take Divya. But we should make an item, small book, some beads. Whosoever takes. Sometimes we are attached to the results. So holy name also, we don't need big philosophy. I'll teach you on meditation. You'll get peace of mind. Just initially. And then, how to chant like this. And if they take up chanting, slowly that chanting, the wood will start becoming dry. And one day they'll take up. So we'll stop here. Grantharaj, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.